back with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk at 7:12. Happy Veterans Day. Don't forget to call a veteran and thank them for their service. We'll be talking more about that in Hero of the Week in the 8 o'clock hour. But in the meantime, still picking up some of the pieces from the Tuesday election. And we'll be watching more results as they come in. In particular, looking at Amendment 1. Still no certainty on that. So we'll be watching that in the days and weeks ahead. But let's talk with somebody who's going to be representing this area in the Illinois House. And that is former state representative and former director of the Illinois Department of Natural Resources under former Governor Bruce Rauner, Wayne Rosenthal, joining us in studio. State Representative-elect, thank you for taking time with us. How you doing?
Well, thank you for having me this morning, Greg. And first of all, thanks to all the veterans, since it is Veterans Day. And I was a 30-year veteran myself, retired from the Illinois Air National Guard out here in 2001, so it's been a while. But, you know, those people serve the country, and they continue to serve their communities when they come back. And so I want to make sure to thank them and encourage everybody to thank all the veterans that they see.
Well, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
Greatly appreciate that. Now you're going to be serving again in the Illinois House. I guess since the time you've been away from official capacity, what have you been up to?
Well, yeah, so the last 4 years, I've been basically retired, but farming full time with my sons, and I still get calls from people asking for help, and I can continue to do that because I still have contacts, and so I look forward to getting back to working and serving the people of the area. I don't plan on moving anyplace. I got a lot of friends that have moved to Florida or elsewhere, but I plan on staying here.
Or Texas or Tennessee or
somewhere else.
A host of other places.
But, I've had a history of serving. I'm still on a Lincoln Land Community College Board of Trustees. I'm on the Illinois Corn Marketing Board. And so whatever we can do for this area and to help and make things better for the people that live here.
So on Tuesday, we were hearing beforehand there was going to be a red wave. I don't think that we saw necessarily that matriculate across the country, but there were no illusions in Illinois that we were going to see massive pickups in the state legislature for Republicans. But it was not a good night for Republicans.
No, it wasn't. And it's more than anything, it's a result of who gets to draw the maps. And the maps were drawn. If you look at, realistically, all of our statewide candidates got beat basically 54-44. But when you look at the House and the Senate makeup, it's nowhere close to 54-44. It's more like 70-30, or 67-33, something like that. And so that's a function of being able to draw the maps and make them to your benefit. So how do you change that moving forward? I know that previous efforts to have fair maps or some kind of third-party commission to evaluate things and to craft things, is that the route we need to go? Well, I think that would be a better way to go for sure. And you can't blame people for gerrymandering because it happens in all the other states. Republicans do it, Democrats do it. They do it to their benefit, and I understand that. But if we had fair maps, it would make a difference, and then because the way it's drawn right now, you have either a Republican or Democrat in most districts. It's going to be one or the other based on how you drew the district and the population of that district. And for sure, most of the downstate rural areas are pretty much red. If you look at a map, that's where it is. But the blue, Cook County and all the collar counties are blue.
Now, with the new General Assembly that'll be seated mid-January, what do you anticipate are going to be some of the major issues right up front outside of the budget?
Well, the first thing is the Safety Act, and they're continuing to talk about that, and they'll do that in veto session probably next week. I won't be involved with that. But, when 101 out of 102 states' attorneys are opposed to it, there's got to be some changes made, and hopefully they'll be beneficial. But, I don't.
But do you think there will be changes made that will be substantial to address those concerns given the outcome of the election?
So. I would hope so. But the simple fact is if the Democrats decide they want something, they're going to get it because they got the supermajority in both chambers and they got the governor. And so, and that's how that Safety Act got passed initially, And at the last minute, and talking to some of the people that were there, they didn't even get it debated on the floor. So, and that's not necessarily the way things should work. And
yeah, I think in the Illinois Senate, they only allowed for 2 people from each side to debate this 700-page bill at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I'm not even sure the House had that. So it's it'll be interesting to see the dynamics and how they've changed in the 8 years that I haven't been there.
Well, we'll be watching alongside you.
Yeah.
State Representative-elect Wayne Rosenthal, can I keep you around for another segment?
Sure.
Because I want to talk about the future of the Republican Party. You've got, of course, House Minority Leader Jim Durkin not seeking election. We just talked with State Representative Tim Butler.
Sure.
He's heading out. He shared some of his thoughts of what the future of the Republican Party is. As somebody who is a Republican and even rose to the level of a director position in the former Republican governor's office, I want to talk to you about what the future looks like for the Republican Party.
Sure.
So stay tuned. We'll get to that here next with State Representative-elect Wayne Rosenthal live in studio with us on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Back with Springfield's Morning News, I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk, now 7:25, about 42 degrees, and we're in studio with State Representative-elect Wayne Rosenthal, who will be a state representative for parts of the listening area in the new General Assembly. So looking forward to seeing how that rolls out, but Representative, of course, it was a rough night for Republicans in Illinois, not necessarily the wave we saw across the country, but when it comes to the Illinois Republican Party, how do you see the path forward in being able to get more control? Because control has slipped in the Illinois State House.
Oh, yeah. And so if you look at the map, like I talked earlier, the rural parts of Illinois are pretty red. And so when you look at where the potential to gain seats is, it's in the collars in Cook County. And as you know, Cook County would be tough anyway. So it's identifying areas that are close to being 50-50, because most of those maps, like I said, the districts are not drawn to be advantageous to us. And so then it's a matter of figuring out how do you get the right candidate and compete in the right districts.
Well, and how do you do that, and what kind of tenor of candidate are we talking about? Because there seems to be, even in statements that House Minority Leader Jim Durkin has made, that he wears the badge of a rhino proudly.
Sure.
He says we need more moderates in the Republican Party. He talks about how the Republican Party needs to step away from Trump. Is that the path forward?
I think especially if you're looking at the northeast part of the state, that's probably true, and especially if you're looking at the soccer moms and how do you get those and convince them that some of your values and the things that you want to accomplish are beneficial to them. And to me, like I said, I spent 30 years in the military, and you need to figure out how to talk to people on both sides, even if you don't agree, because you're not going to accomplish anything if you don't talk to them. And that was my reputation when I was there before. I got friends on both sides of the aisle, and I can talk to them. And like I say, we may not agree on everything, but you still have to be able to talk to them to accomplish anything. And so that's where I think we need to go forward. And like Jim said, we need more moderation, especially if you're going to try to win seats up north.
How do you approach that moderation? Is it staying away from social issues? I mean, you had Governor Ron DeSantis essentially say, he's railing against the woke mob that it's being characterized as. But a lot of people see that as cultural issues that it might repel some people but attract others.
Sure.
Do you focus on those issues, or do you walk away from those issues and just focus on being conservative in spending and government and so on?
So, a lot of the social issues that we talk about are the ones that probably drive them away from our party. And so if you want to get to the point where you're attracting and make a bigger tent, then I think you avoid the social issues, talk about the fiscal issues and the things that you do have in common, and try to attract them that way.
Has that worked in the past for Republicans in Illinois?
I don't think they've approached it that way. So, and of course the Dems, they always want to bring you into social issues because that's their strength. And so, it becomes how do you how do you convince people that what you're doing is right? Because, there's a lot of good people throughout Illinois, and so they like to demonize everybody, and I think that's part of the problem we have, because we now have extremes on both sides, and that's where most people aren't,
So in the new General Assembly, Republicans in the House are going to be a super minority, and some might even say super minority. What can you guys possibly get done?
Well, you still can. We're still going to be working in the committees, and still, you have to work with the other side. And a lot of times they're trying to pass legislation that's beneficial to them, but we have to explain why it may or may not be beneficial to the areas south of I-80 for sure, and the rural parts of Illinois. And hopefully, if they're reasonable, they'll listen. But in most cases, if they want to pass something, they'll just plain pass it.
State Representative-elect Wayne Rosenthal, greatly appreciate you taking the time. I imagine you and I are going to have a lot more conversations.
I expect that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is actually the radio station's in your jurisdiction.
It is.
So so while you're coming in to say hello to us, you can also, I guess, put it on your calendar to stop around and say hello to other people throughout the day. So
sure.
Appreciate your time today, and we'll talk again soon, all right?
Yes, thank you very much.
It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7.